tell me if anybody's on. This is a random live. It definitely was not planned. So anybody's out there? Okay, hi, someone's on. All right. Hello. All right, random live. Let me just notify people. I did not, this was not planned whatsoever because this body hasn't slept at all. It didn't sleep at all last night with the energies, and it went for a walk and it's still awake. And it's, anyway, just feel guided to talk about what's going on so people don't fall into any of this and get baited into any trouble, any conflicts, any division, any wars, get baited into any of this drama going on. And this is not why we're here, those that hear this message anyway. So this is just to spread some awareness, some love, kindness and compassion as you're here to embody the change, the peace, the love, the stability, and through this shift, and not to fall for any of the games that they've gone on for decades and decades. There's always another excuse, another reason for another war, another this and they and him. Same story. Let it. So anyway, let me just share this quickly, some people, and then we can talk about this. Feel very guided to talk about this. Share it. Those that hear will hear. Those that are meant to hear will hear this. For the highest and greatest good, I'm going to share this. I have no clue what the time is anyway. Who's ever going to be anyway? I'll just share it now. Sorry. I'll be 1 second. Anyway. I haven't a clue who's awake and who's not at the moment, or whoever they even are. But we will share it. This comes from a place of compassion and kindness and love. Obviously, this is what this body's here to do, is to guide. It's what it's been doing humanity through the shift. So for the highest and greatest good, because the new earth, and not to, so you don't get, dragged down any timeline you don't want to be on, or the parallel reality. Especially if you are on your awakening journey, you can still, it depends on the discernment and levels and patterns and habits, because you inherit the thing on. There we are. Okay, it's on now. There we are. I forgot to put the phone on charge. Shows you haven't slept. Sorry. So the battery's finished anyway. All right. So you don't fall into these games, because plenty did. This is what happened with Brexit. Plenty fell for that because these are very sophisticated games. So at the moment, everyone knows we're going through a big shift. All right. And there's a power struggle going on the planet, which is clear to see. There's a power struggle going on. Now, it doesn't matter who's doing it. You're not going to know anyway. So, but basically you have crowns and things that actually own the land itself. I mean, crazy that you don't realize this, but anyway, strange that they have actually leases, like they own the countries. I mean, this has been going on. They've been fighting each other for ages. And when these leases come to, expire now, I have to give the country back now to France or whatever. They don't like giving up their toys, and they tend to get to, but anyways, you notice that they start fighting over the land. So we got all this going on. Most people aren't aware of all these things. None of us. And it's just, we don't even need to get dragged into these old stories. This is just what's been happening on the planet. And, these crowns and these whatever. These others fight, whoever they are, countries, crowns, whatever. They've been at it, as you know, with each other, whatever. Doesn't matter. Who's ever fighting for who? The banks, the this and that, it's really irrelevant. We don't need to know all the small details. All we need to know is that we don't need to perpetuate this. This is why you hear the shift is not to go down the same plug hole as humanity has always done, right? Understanding that we are going through a shift. This is why all the light is pushing up the shadow. Within all beings, within all consciousnesses, really, all avatars, are pushing up their shadow. Just some are not awake. They're not aware that they have shadow. They're not aware that these are patterns they've inherited like us. This is in our ancestry and our DNA, and boy, years of inner work do you go through and clear these patterns of your ancestors and things? This is why so many people are falling for these games and get baited for it, because we have. It's been going on forever. And especially on alternative media and social media, these small side platforms. Brexit, that whole, let's say, that whole Q movement was one. That was, it just wasn't publicly known. It'll come out later on, but that was one because of their divide that's going on. So we've got parts of the globe, the continent now of having, as you know, it's not so private anymore. There's their little plans or their security things. But also understand, unless it's coming from their actual mouth, you hear a prime minister or president or whatever saying something, then you know it's true, because they are saying, I'm going to do this, or I want to, whatever their story is. And even that, as people know, we've been misled. Any story, this is why, they try and gather public, they try and rile the public behind them because, oh, he's a bad guy, or he's at this, or he's got whatever. As you know, it's just, the list is an arm long for every war. There's always been some story which, it never turns out to be the actual truth, because it isn't. So don't even try and find the truth. Don't get your nose in it. Don't get involved in it, because that's the same thing. You don't want to jump on those timelines. We are here, those that want to, is to steer humanity or yourself into that timeline that doesn't, because there's many parallel realities. So you don't want to be on one that's going to go down and destroy themselves. There's some that can choose that, because basically you're in your own bubble, literally. You literally are. You're in your own bubble, and so you really literally are. You have your own parallel reality. So a lot of people, as I see, Brexit, that was a big game that went on Europe to weaken Europe. So there's battles. Europe is a target. UK, they didn't realize it at the time, I don't think, but UK and Europe, whatever, they're kind of caught in this, and they're trying to, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let them play their own games out. We're not interested in who's doing what and who's on what. There's a lot of, as you say, power struggles going on. It started a while ago because of this. So they're all it's just, wow, anyway. It's just gone on, as we know, for centuries, literally. So we had to put a stop to that. Those that are here, we're actually here to put a stop to this, right? To raise humanity out of this pattern, especially those that are awake, because you've done your work, you realize it's a pattern and habit. But those that aren't awake are in the same thing, because their ancestors did it, literally. It's clear, it's actually so clear that patterns are very transparent. You can see them. You can see who's behind it, because just of the patterns. This is what they did, and their grandfathers, and his great ancestor, and oh my gosh. They're repeating the cycles, you see. And their own fears, their own projections. One of them is communism. They love playing that around elections. It's a huge fear held by the ruling class or the elite, because of what happened in Russia when they, lessons that weren't learnt by the soul. So when you go and oppress people, and, like Marie Antoinette, there's a good example. Eventually let them have cake, they were starving. And eventually people, going to have enough, because that's a lesson. It wasn't seen, we're all one. What you do comes back to you. You manifest, it wasn't realized. So, of course, what happened? The peasants got fed up, and they, overthrew them. And the same with Russia, the same with all these countries. And it's just, as I say, no one's kind of copped on and sorted out their patterns. So this is held within them in power. So they fear now, the same thing. The peasants might, not, they're going to rise up and get fed up with us, whatever. So they have this fear. They keep projecting, and there's so many patterns you can see out there, right? Oh my gosh, there's communism. They have this. They haven't cleared that, and they haven't realized, well, it's us actually. They're bringing it to ourselves. There's a lot of things going on out there, right? We're not here to get dragged into it. Please be aware that these power struggles between many countries, everyone's vying on sides, and all kinds of games going on. So you are seeing very clearly media out there which is false, which is stirring. You might even see people also understand when you wake up, you're also going to see channels. Here's an example. There's a whole story that went around with some channels saying there's going to be a spiritual war. Well, hello. Remember that whatever you claim as the divine, as source, and say and believe, reality has to conform to that, right? Because this is what it is. It reflects what's in your consciousness and the mind. So you will see, it will validate, oh, okay, there's a spiritual war. So a lot of people are seeing it because they are manifested it, because they believed and followed it. This is normal when you first wake up. And other channels, because they haven't cleared their own shadow. A lot of people still it's part of the awakening journey, don't realize there isn't any light and dark. It's within the self. There's only the self. You see, it's their own shadow they haven't faced, they're frightened of. So you will see this light and dark battle until you have overcome or faced your own shadow. That is just part of the awakening journey. So a lot of people, there's, the shadow, there's that. This is a big thing when you first wake up. Some don't overcome that, you see. They avoid it. And this is why it doesn't clear. Because there is only you here. What you're realizing as source, the whole universe, you experience internally. As I say, it's like a mirror. So you are in conflict with yourself. So when people try and claim a spiritual war, any kind of battle, you are actually fighting with yourself. As source, you are divided among yourself, because only God or source is here. So every single being, even those that are fighting and wanting to fight with each other again, the rulers and make wars and shit, is the same old story. Okay, they're fighting themselves. They're fighting their own patterns and their own consciousness and habits, and they've inherited from their fathers, because they've had, fighting and overthrowing each other for centuries. So they are just, repeating the same story, right? This is all you are seeing going on out there. So a lot of people don't realize, I am manifesting this because I'm saying there's a spiritual war. I'm saying, whatever, which none of it is actually. You claim it, your belief, your truth. This is what really is not going in. So there's a lot of people that haven't faced their own shadow. So yes, there's a dark, I see it a lot. And it's not funny. It's not funny to face it. Especially, it depends how much it is. But it's a good thing to get it over with. All right. Because there isn't. All you're doing is fighting your own energy. That's why they say, I am source. Well, then hello. There isn't. Every single one, it's source, experiencing through this body, through that body, through every body, but it's still the same one. There are no separate characters and people here. They are personality structure. It's actually like a structure. There's no real person behind it. Your soul manufactures a structure in itself. That's why when you pop the thing, you'll see that you are the reality itself, and the person will disappear. This is a personality structure. The blah, 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 talking, me, I did, my. That's mind. Only thoughts that speak. In you, thoughts. That is the personality construct. It's actually like a geometric construct. You can exit that, and you can experience the omnipresence and all that is, and you'll see that everything is in you. All right. So what you are listening to is that personality construct and all its programs and ancestry and patterns. That's all that you are actually. So you're actually just fighting your own shadows, your own patterns, and your own things. That's all the internal thoughts and talk that goes on within you. That half the planet is not awake, right? So we have leaders that are clearly doing this. It's so obvious. Same with after the war. We've got basically going on now, what would they call it after the war? That whole bailout story that happened with the banks. I can't remember the name of it. Sorry, I see the body hasn't slept at all. Can't remember the name of it. After the Second World War, that's when the Federal Reserve pulled a move, and they decided, right, everyone, they will back building up, Europe again and whatever else, and help them out and bail them out and give them money, but they had to use American tractors, whatever else. That's how they became so great and so big, and all the wealth. So the banks or Federal Reserve, which is a private entity, it's a private bank. It does not belong, even this one, Bank of England, does not belong to any country. They are private banks. They are not anything to do with the government, right? It's purely there to make profit, and they profit from debt. So they want you to, the more they can get you to loan money, from, if it's a government or anyone, buy a house, get a mortgage, it's interest debt. They make money out of nothing by creating money, debt. So the system is set up that the more they can get out, the more debt you are in, the more wealth they make. It's all about debt, the system, right? So this is how the whole thing started back then. Yeah, they're all the same. They're all private banks, yes. Bank of England. Even people don't realize when they say the Bank of England, it's a private bank like the Federal Reserve. It's in the City of London. People misunderstand. The City of London and London are two different things. The Vatican, it's the same thing, is inside Italy. But it's an independent state. It's got its own sovereignty, its own borders. It's an actual private country. Right? It's completely. The City of London is a private, independent, it's like the Vatican, does not belong to the UK. It is completely independent, and it is basically the capital, banking capital. So the bankers hang out in the City of London. You can't enter there. It's inside London, but it's its own, like the Vatican, its own city. This is the capital. This is where all the bankers are. That is, and so the Bank of England actually is at the moment under the Federal Reserve. Pretty much after the war, pretty much the Federal Reserve, they were in debt anyway. So the Federal Reserve basically pulls the strings of all the banks, basically in the US, right? And it's irrelevant. Who cares? This is, let them fight out. And they don't really seem to mind who it's a bank. They make money. Doesn't matter whoever goes to war, whatever, who wins, it's irrelevant. So we're going through like the same thing. This is like a second story where everything it's like I call it 2.0. Whatever they're doing now is everything they want you to buy or use American stuff. This whole battle now for the new, like the internet and you just say everything is going to be digital. This new, like we had the Industrial Revolution, now we've got this, whatever they're trying to do, robot AI thing. So this is why it's like a whole big again, you got to go with us and not them. They're repeating their patterns of their family, their ancestors. It's just so like, we sit there and watch this. It's been going on forever. But if you're awake, you understand this. You also understand that is source. Okay, unconditional love, because there is no one here. Literally, there's no one here. There's personality, actual fake personality structures, okay, to play as separate entities, but there's still only the one. And it absolutely, unconditionally loves itself. These personality structures, which are only source, it's, as I say, it's kind of playing, it's not awake. When it pops, you'll see there's nobody there. There's no separate people here. There's no separate people. It's the divine, you yourself. There's no one here. That character is a completely fictional character. So they are playing a part. Now, some are playing in this story at the moment, are playing the bad guys. Okay, are playing the ones causing divide, fight, division, blame, hate, anger, all this, spewing out, whatever. You can see, if it's not love, kindness, compassion, lifting up, trying to divide, trying to bring humanity together, spread peace, unity, oneness, you'll get the opposite, right? So those are playing, no, we don't want them, we're fighting, we divide, split up the planet, he's good, he's bad, but they're horrible, they're useless, whatever. It's their shadow. So all they are doing is playing roles. Remember, reality has to conform to what your perception and your belief and your whatever is. So you've got to get this really very clearly understood. There's no set world out there. That's an illusion. This is a story that we've got history, all that's completely concocted. When this pops, there's nothing, there's none of it there. It's completely, as they say, Maya. It's a story, it's a game you as the divine are playing. But while you are playing it, you don't realize until you pop the bubble that you are the divine. You are not, there's no even person. There is really no one in the bodies. So you've got them. Now they have to conform, because that's all it is. Source is playing with itself. It is all characters, the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything. This is why you need to face this. Okay, it's all things. Only one exists, right? So while you are playing this, and if you say there's good and bad, as I say, the patterns, whatever that consciousness still believes and hasn't cleared, it will reflect it, because that's what it's here to do. It's here, the whole idea is you've got to see there, realize that's a reflection. When I change here, it will change there. So this is a whole part of this game, is for you to wake up and it's there, projected, so you can, oh my gosh, learn. You see, it's like an experience. So you will learn, you're experiencing it instead of just seeing it. So while you've got this personality structure, you've got senses and it feels real. So you experience it. So it's much more, let's say you can learn easier. It's more of a game then. Otherwise you wouldn't really take it seriously. Because you know, once you're out the body, you know it's no one's here, and you realize it's all nonsense. So you know, it won't work. So you are in the story to supposed to be to overcome your own shit, really. Your own patterns, your own shadows, your own whatever, you know, consciousness has taken on. It's ancestry, whatever it is, whatever you chose to play, you pick these avatars. So some have chosen the bad guys. Simple. That's not an easy thing to do, because when the bubble pops, no one's a bad guy. There's no one here. I'm not even joking when I say that. There's no separate people. These personality structures are artificial constructs. There's no separate people in them. No one's in the body. Absolutely. That mind, those thoughts, oh. So there's internal, you're fighting with yourself really, when you realize I am all. So everything in you, all those voices and arguments and thoughts and things, energies, are actually just mind constructs, energy forms, which really is no people. So you're actually just fighting with yourself when you realize, okay, you're fighting with yourself. Anything is the self. You are the entire thing. All is appearing in you. So all the good, as I say, all the characters, they just, it's like, how can I explain this? Archetypes, really. Archetypal thoughts. Good guy, bad guy, this, that, whatever. And that's all they do, you know, because whatever you want to believe. The game is infinite. You can believe in anything you want to believe, okay? So everything is moved digital. So the new battleground is this media, which is, you know, us in our 60s, it's like, hey, we lost in this one. Social media, propaganda. So as everyone, and they still fall for it. I mean, it's unbelievable. But look, you do understand. If you haven't seen it, and if you don't know how it works and how the games play, you won't see the characteristics of these regime change tactics. You don't recognize them unless you're trained to do it, right? So they are quite clear. You pick them up after a bit. They are. And there's always, it doesn't matter, as I'm saying, we've got to learn that no reason is a good reason. That's it. Doesn't matter who. You see, this is where each avatar has to learn that thou shalt not kill, because you're really killing yourself, you see. There is no reason. No reason. And when you've cleared here, there will be no internal conflict. There's not going to be any out there, you see. No reason to hate, divide, or war. That's it. And it can be, as you notice, centuries of fighting with yourself if you haven't done your work. And it's me and my and him and that and I. It's just, yeah, absolutely, here we are. That people are not realizing they are creating this. You see. So it doesn't matter who, they've done this or they've got whatever. They're terrorists, they've got weapons, they are drug dealers, they are whatever the story is this time. You know, oh my gosh, he's a that or he's a, you know, there will always be a story. Because why? You will not get popular approval and people to back you. You see, even to go against your own government, you know, to cause right. So please be aware that you don't end up with it, even with your own countries. Okay? Be very aware that you don't fall for protest. Don't get dragged into any protest, civil unrest. You don't want to start any civil wars in your own countries or anything. They are doing this and doesn't matter what country and who's doing what. Understand, you are playing a Maya game here. Do not fall for these stories anymore, that they are bad and they are this and he's at that, and it's all about money, really. At the end of the day, it's about money. It's about control, it's about bullying, it's about money. It's the same thing that's gone on. And there will be a story to justify it, and whatever, and none of it's normally true. So it doesn't matter who says, what says, just ignore it. It's irrelevant. Understand there is no other one. You are watching the divine fight with itself. They are not awake. It hasn't seen its own pattern. So if there's communists, there's this is an internal pattern and program running in that consciousness, that DNA, that has not been cleared and worked through, that has not been seen and overcome. That's all. And it's projected out there. Up there, you see, they're going to be, whatever has been programmed. This is purely a program, like a computer. Absolutely. The best is not to listen to anything it says. If you pay enough attention to it, you realize that it's a good and bad guy, the talking inside, because that's the whole point of the Maya. It gives you options. So the thoughts will come up and they're good ones, and then then it'll try nasty thoughts, and try and bait you into, watch out. Understand, this is an artificial construct to play the Maya. The thoughts play the good and the bad as out there. You see, so you can choose. But when they haven't done a lot of work on the inside, it's pure programs. And you can see these programs have been running for centuries. So we are here, as most people will not want to fall, will not want to see their country go to war, will not want to see any civil war, any of this in their own country. Do not get baited, because it is very clear tactics and they're used in all media. People are unaware because they fall for this and currently believe it. People are suffering because they fell for the whole Q movement and the Brexit thing. That was early games going on. All right. These are very sophisticated for people that don't realize, and they are allowed to do it because there was a law that was done away with in 2012. All governments, same thing, because they work, doesn't matter which so-called party, they all, if it has let's say, their little plan, it's money. Hi. They have this plan, right? So they will all follow it. Doesn't matter who comes on, if they've got this plan, this is our security thing, or this is our, aim, it's all financial gain. They are going to be, we don't, whatever. This is our new enemy now. They all follow along the same thing. So in 2012, there was what was it called again? I can't remember. I spoke about it many times. That what it was a law that didn't allow the governments to use propaganda, those regime change tactics, on their own people, in their own countries. This law was done away with in 2012. Preparing for this change. Now, the UK and the US and all signed them. They cancelled it, which this is why this is happening. Now, you have social media and you've got people, being used and played with. Don't listen to them. They are fake, or this is good news and he's bad and they are the wrong ones. So, of course, then what are you going to do? You won't listen to the other side. You're only going to hear what now you believe is the truth. Sides again, division again. It's all delusion. It's all Maya. It's all separation. There really is no separation. This is what you came here to actually overcome, especially now at the end of times. It's for you to arise above the Maya, to see there is no real separation, which requires inner work. To do a lot of your own shadow work. Because when you especially have shadows, you are going to fear. There's always going to be a bad guy, the dark, they're there. Ooh, there's, you see, this is why when you wake up, you fight. The dark and light battle is the first thing that you get into. Because what you're not realizing is you're fearing your own shadow. So the darkness is being projected out there. There's dark, there's bad, there's evil guys. Ooh, they're there. Wow, did we go through this one as well? You know, big time. Yeah, this, whew. So you know what you're talking about because you went down the rabbit holes and oh my gosh, and there's these and there's bad, woo, big time. And every hole you're looking and all you did was focusing on this and you see, you were just fighting the dark until you get to a stage where they like tap you in the normal, the angels, because that's your first level. Because you're in the lower astrals now. That's exactly what it is. You're facing your lower astrals, your second and third density. And the angels tap you on the shoulder and they will go, if they're nice. When you've been fighting you built up your strength now and you've got your light and your wings and whatever. And they will tap you on the shoulders and okay. And then they show you, no, we actually send it light and love and it dissolves. Oh, all right. You see, you're fighting yourself. So you will get taught what you do is send whatever that is, light and love, and watch it. It dissolves. No matter what it appears as, in what shape or body it appears in, an ET form, whatever, you realize these are. But you've got to get through this, you see. Some don't even pass that stage. They haven't even copped on. They don't pass that stage. Is overcoming that. And then you see also, then you're also shown later, there's no light and dark. All is the one. That's another. But it's all these levels you have to work through. It's the self. You have to work through. It is your mirror, your consciousness, literally. You will see it. If you exit the bubble, you realize you're in a bubble completely. This entire world appears in it. Everything. But we are playing a collective game. So you are aware of the collective story, as you see, and with not actually, there's no world out there to let you know. There's no real world, anything out there, but it appears. Well, as far as your horizon can see, on the news it appears in things, but you don't see the whole world. You never will see the whole world. There isn't no whole world out there, but. So you're playing in a collective story, and the collective story now is this is our past. Well, is actually also a few versions of those, if you noticed. You see, so the idea is please be very aware. There are many political battles, and the new warfare is social media, propaganda, regime change, misinformation, disinformation, whatever. This whole this is, and get them and also stir up. So they stir us up in people, and they will actually fight their own country. They will actually do, they will start their own civil war. So you don't have to do much. You just have to stir a few people up, pay a few people, and they will overthrow the government for you. As you have seen in many countries. Oops, we have these civil unrests. And they do the work for you. So Brexit, people did their own damage to their own country. Fell for that one hook, line, and center. And damaged their own economy in their own country. Because they fell for that. It was very good, though, I must admit. It was took a while to, especially when you're in your own shadow, you see, because you resonated with it. So it took quite a while to see through that one, and a lot of shadow work. A lot of working through the lower astrals to see through, it doesn't. And you also will see, because you'll see there's no love. This is when you've done the work, because anyone in that speaks love. The words, the actions are of love, of unity, of peace. They're not going to stand up there and say, you see, you watch it, you'll see it. It's the sermon that grows. When you are watching them talk, you will see, there's lots of things I don't listen to that you used to, because you didn't see, these are the bad guys. You see, when they're still looking, there's evil, they're the bad guys, they haven't done their shadow. They're still at that lower density. They're still in the second and third. They're still resonating with that, you see, the lower astrals. So there's already a sign. Secondly, there's no love. None. I watch many of these shows and things and people sitting there talking and wow, the energy is, it's cold. It is dead. There is no love and emotion. There's no light and love. emanating from those bodies or things at all. There's division. It's like monotone. You see, this is what's not being actually tuned into, you see. This takes discernment. You really have to listen. Love. There's no glow, light in them. There's no glow. There's no love. There's no, you can see they're not illuminated one bit. Yet people are listening to every word they say. You see, where in that being, as even Jesus said, in their actions, their words, their deeds, you don't see them running around. You will never see those or saints or those beings saying hate, this, that, blame, this and that. You will not hear that. You will never see anger, blame, hate, any of that spewed out there. Judgments, any of that. There's love, there's kindness and compassion, there's quiet. There will always be unity, there'll always be peace there. That's the thing, actions. Their words and their actions don't align. Why? Because there are many beings on the planet, and we've all been through this, that are still on the very early stages of waking up and haven't even worked through that themselves. Their words, their actions, and they are not lining up, you see, themselves. So it's being reflected out there. They cannot, until you clear here, you cannot see it out there. You see, you've got to work through your mental patterns. You've got to work through those. You've got to work through your shadows. All these layers and things. And also the words and deeds. So you will be tricked out there when you haven't seen or cleared those lessons, you see. As you clear it here, so it is revealed out there. So there are many beings that are not seeing this. This is why it was so successful, especially there. Wow, plenty throughout awake. So for love and compassion here is to help and guide them. Okay? Because it is the self. Literally, when the body's dropped, or let's say when you exit this, if you do it before you die or whenever, if you become enlightened before the body dies, or it doesn't matter, or the body dies, whatever, you will very clearly see. You see? And yeah, for their own sake. Because we're not going to go into details about that, about consciousness and the no body and things, and but it's not fun because consciousness is eternal. So that stuff carries on. The thing is, when there's a body here, you're not seeing. You see, you're not always aware of the lower astrals and things. As I say, when you wake up, it's quite scary. When you have a lot of shadow, those, because it's distortions, those entities, looks like in thought forms, all they are, like this is a thought form. It appears very distorted and not nice, you see, because it's out of alignment. So, as people know, when you wake up and you see these things, you shit yourself, literally. It is very frightening. Literally. When you wake up and you see these things and you've got some clearly shadows, you're resonating with that, you face some real scary things out there in your, what do they call it? There's a name, the Buddhists call it also when you die. You see these things, they call it the lower realms. Let's just say it's not fun. Not fun. When you look in the mirror and you see, it really is. I mean, I can tell you it's not funny at all. It's, wow, it's scary. So can you imagine when there's no body, you're aware of all of it. Those thought forms, you see all. So you see, because there's no separation anymore. You see? You are seeing, what you don't realize is that people don't realize that they think they're real things. You see? They still believe they're their body, so they maintain let's say, a form. And they will see these things, that's what they call, these not so pleasant, they appear. The astral is like, there's no separation then, it's here. It's like, yeah, anyway. So you've got to, it's work. It's understanding it's all mind. Everything, what you think is a real world, physical world, is not. Absolutely not. It appears solid, but it's not. When you touch something, the only thing you feel is where your hands actually touch. Sensation, yes, but there's no solid reality out there. And when there's no body, that becomes clear. And if you haven't cleared that and you're resonating at your lower astrals, your second or third density, wow, it's not pleasant. Anyone will tell you, we're going through those not so pleasant realms, it's not fun. It's not fun when you've had a lot of shadow, fear, trauma stored in the consciousness and the body. Wow. and you, of course, you think that's it, and you're fighting it because you don't realize what it is. But with compassion down the line, when you find the angels kind of, they start guiding you in how to, do these things. And then you don't have that fear. Doesn't matter what appears, you see. Anyway, we're going off track. So at the moment, there's a lot going on, as you see, about Venezuela, about Europe. A lot of people, I see posts. People post things without, because they see a post shared on a site, a platform, a Twitter, a this or that, and they just share it, thinking it's real. Please be aware. Who's playing who here? There's a lot of political power struggles going on. Wow, plenty. I mean, it's just pretty much global, fighting for control or sides or, vying for each other all over. Africa, South America, Europe, America. America's been quite straightforward at the moment, luckily. Now they have made it sort of open now that they are after Europe. So this Q movement now that was under the table as Europe is now kind of not under the table anymore. It's openly, Europe and England, they've kind of openly said they are, there's hostility towards them. You see, this is whatever their power struggle's going on. So this is just what's happening. So it doesn't matter. So I'm saying this is delusional because they're believing they are these characters. They are in their mind. They haven't, obviously, not seen their patterns and, haven't even realized these are ancestry thought forms and patterns and, as they karmic spirals that they are seeing, and just replays and replays. And they've been stuck in these just different bodies, but the stories just gone on and on and on and on and on. This is why they cycle. We are here to break it. Finally, step out of this delusional cycle of war and as communists, all these fears, all these delusions of fear and threat, and there's always someone that's bad, but because no one's questioning. There's whatever here is changed, it will be reflected out there. If it's not here, you will not see it out there. And when you've worked through these things, those densities fall away. So the second and third density will drop away. There will be none of that anymore. You rise above those. So you rise, it's like dimensions. Consciousness is things that's going up. So those just fall away. All of those stories, you don't see them. They don't arise anymore. And you will see pretty much whatever you see here and you change, literally it becomes almost instant. So this one can say something, claim it or believe it or whatever, anything. Literally, I will see it reflected. Woof. The next day, I can go on social media, whatever I've said, thought, and changed, it will be reflected back to me like that. So what you're changing here is being reflected, you see. But when you have a lot, you're not seeing it that fast. So you don't realize there's no world out there, actually. That's the biggest joke. There's not. Absolutely not. And if you stop listening to the parrot and fighting with yourself, this is actually what's going on. Eternal, you, source, are fighting. You are denying, but there's only you playing it all. I'm the light and the dark here. When you realize there isn't any light and the dark, there's no characters, that's when it becomes transparent, because you're not saying I am, you're not believing in this personality structure, which is just a structure. It's like a program. When you stop it, it dies down, it stops. It doesn't like to go. Ooh. But when that thing comes to an end, you'll realize, oh my shit. Then you will see, as I say clearly, that it's all a complete, you see. Then everything becomes, you'll see there's no bodies, there's no one, only sources here. There's no world. You are the whole reality that you are experiencing. Everything in it is you. And that's when they say it becomes light. It becomes alive and light. And you realize you couldn't be safer if you tried. You are in your own self. And as soon as you stop fighting with yourself, you see, that's what they say, the divine. Now, you are in love, you realize it's all me, unconditional. I love all of it. There's no, it will try. It will keep on trying to convince you. No, 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 no. But eventually it'll give up. If you do not listen to it anymore, if you ignore it completely, whatever it says, there's any separate person, you just ignore the fact that there's anyone here. It falls away and you will actually see, you see. That's when the whole world changes and it becomes divine, as they say, love, it's light. It is all you. It's heaven on earth. You are in paradise. You are in yourself. It's all paradise now. Why? Because you are at peace with yourself. Because you are the only one playing the game and you are playing the good and bad guy. So you stop realizing, oh, there's no one here. It's only me. Oh, there's no bad guys. There's no anything. Not even oh, wow. Then paradise appears. Peace appears. There's no one to fight, you see. The whole thing becomes illuminated. And everything is, you can see, it's clear. You can see the trees. You can see the spirits or the consciousness in the trees. Everything is alive. It talks to you, everything. And there's just love. Love for everything in yourself. Why? Because you are now fully loving yourself and accepting yourself. This is all this whole game is about, is to realize that. You see, as they say, as within, so without. It was just very coded in the Bible. So please, people, for your own sakes, you are going to have a lot of people, even especially in these countries, are going to be angry with their own governments because of what's going on. Please don't fall for that one. If you don't want to even fight, it's not going to help fighting among yourselves. Don't fall for any protests, civil wars. You will start your own civil wars. Okay? You don't need that. Don't fall for these games, okay? Do not. There will be, obviously, those that are unawakened. But remember, this is a non-physical reality. So, it looks real. So you think, oh my gosh, this is a set reality. This is what's happening. I've got to change it. No, 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 no. That is an offer. That's a projection. No, I change it. I choose, I stay, I don't fall for it, I don't get frightened, I don't believe it can affect me. I don't get frightened at my reflection. I change it here, I call in peace, I stay calm. Remember, what you change here, and if you don't fall for it, if you like, but you still, it's not going to change because you're saying, you can't con yourself. You are divine, you are yourself, you are this reality. So there's no kidding yourself. You can't say, I don't believe it. There's peace, but you're still frightened. You still think it's going to affect you. You see, you are the one watching the thoughts. You can't lie to yourself. There is no self, you understand? Reality will only transform to really what you believe and see. So that's why they say you be the peace. Have that much faith. This is what it requires in yourself. Trust Source, God. It depends where you're at. If you're not ready, if you don't realize it's you, trust Source, trust God, trust whatever you do. But stay absolutely faithful. Do not fall for that fear or reflection, because that's what it's going to do. It's going to try because it's its job. So then it get really scary. So it's going to look, so you're going to be like, you see, no. Keep that vision, peace. No. Understand it is Source. That's why I say love and respect. Understand all beings have a choice. They are fighting their own shadow. We are not here to condemn, to judge, to fight, to stop, to blame, to try in anything. All right? Whatever you see out there, that's it. Unconditionally, it's an image, it's an offer, it's an appearance, right? So you're seeing the shadow, and it's coming out there dancing to see if you're going to, I've seen it actually sometimes where it's actually amusing when you realize, when you get to a certain level, it's there to test you. These things are up there to play, right? And I remember going somewhere recently and there was a huge hoo-ha publicly. And I literally sat and you realize, okay, but you stayed very centered and so there was no trying to rattle you or get frightened or disturbed. And I realized what was going on and I watched it, because that's how I realized this being was watching. It was trying its hardest to share, just to freak me out. And it was freaking out. It kept looking at me, you see. And I stood there, I stayed absolutely peace and calm and just sent love. Because you know everything's you. You've seen it. When you've seen it, you can't be fooled, you see. When you've seen there's nobody here, literally in the bodies, there's only God here, as the gurus say. You cannot be fooled. So you were aware what was going on, was a test or whatever it was. You were just there. Doesn't matter what the story was, that you hold that peace. You stay centered. You stay calm. And this being was freaking out and throwing such a scene and getting so aggressive and carrying on and going ape there. And this lady and I were sitting there very calmly. And some people were like getting aggressive. You see, that's what it is, trigger. When there's a resonance. Somebody else, now you think you can't calm aggression with aggression. Be quiet, you better. So one is trying to and of course it just aggravates it. It's like trying to have an argument with a drunk person. I mean, that is just futile. It's like you're not going to get anywhere. It's just a very bad idea. You learn that one quite quickly. Just not wise. So the same thing is here. You don't fight aggression with aggression, but when there is a resonance, you see, unhealed or triggers shadow, you will respond. But the best you can do, and all of us, is to hold, because that energy, a higher frequency and that vibration, your frequency and vibration and your light is intentionally. So that can help as well, intentionally. But remember, when there's a very strong pattern, very, very dense pattern, because that pattern is very, it's been going on for such a long time, and their wire is very short. That also is a very powerful energy pattern because it's been repeated and repeated. It's such a vortex. It has a very strong momentum of negativity or anger, you see. So when you are in that vicinity, and if you're not strong enough, you can be pulled into it, which you saw people. You stay calm. And I watched this, and this being was like trying its hard. It kept looking to me. Why is she not getting pissed off? There was no reaction. There was just love, because you knew that was an actor. You know it was an actor very clearly. There's love and there's compassion. You hold compassion and sympathy, actually, because you realize they are in a really bad pattern. So here there was only compassion and sympathy. There was love. You realize that is source in a very negative loop, caught in a it's like in a trauma reaction, caught in a thing. That's all it was, you see. But when there is unhealed, unawakened, wow. Do you see? This is how it spreads. Because it resonates, the fear or the anger or the thing. And this is how it spreads. So right now, spread peace, spread calm, spread things. But be aware that this is all over media, especially alternative media, social media. And there's going to be all kinds of stories, and not true, and at high levels, all levels. So they did that, this government, whatever he did, whatever, don't even pay any attention to it. The best we can do is not give it any attention. Don't feed it energy, don't resist it, don't get angry, don't blame, because there's nobody there. This is a test, this is a shadow, and this is, as I say, it's games. So what you are seeing are all the collective shadows coming up like that and throwing on a show to rattle. And it's looking for resonance, you see. What hasn't been cleared, because it's all it is a job. It's just here as a mirror to wake up, you see. It's free to wake up. And it'll keep until that pattern is stopped. That's all it is. It's a mechanism. There's really no one. These are personality structures. They're mechanisms. Empty of any person. Okay. And when the bodies drop, only the divine is there. And there's only love. No one is to blame. And they weren't, because you realize, there's only you. So those, what you think are the bad people doing things now, when the bodies all fall, there's no bad people to be seen. There's only the divine. There were roles and reflections being played. Because there's a Maya. You can't play otherwise by yourself, you see. So don't fight with yourself. Do not fall for blame, anger, no matter what you see playing out, what's thrown out there, what's said, what's you baited. They will try and bait you, trigger, especially emotionally, because this is what it does. It's its job. It's going to try and trigger you, bait you, convince you they're wrong. You've got to be frightened. They're trying to do this too. This is what that movement was about. Because that's fear. They used fear. If you don't, they're going to, next minute you're going to be in detention camps and you're going to be locked up and you're going to be this and they're going to exterminate you. Biggest fear. I mean, that if you want to trigger survival, that's what they're doing. Is they trigger the fight and flight. So if you think people are going to put you in camps and, trying to exterminate you, well, there we are. You're going to do everything, aren't you? You're going to think, oh my gosh, no, Hitler did a good job with that. Understand, all these wars, everybody has fallen for them every single time. All these regime change stories. All right. That's all they are. At the moment, they are rampant. And their modus operandum is social media. Okay, this is the new face of their thing, is using this. And they are very good. Right. All kinds of people, all levels. It doesn't matter what newscaster, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who you see. Could be a celebrity, could be a news, could be a genuine news people. Remember, because there's governments fighting with each other. It could be any prime ministers, your president. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Remember, only God is here. This is the shift, the end of times, to graduation. You're stepping out of this to the next level. You don't want to stay here. If beings have chosen that experience, because there's no one really here, that's what I'm saying. You see, this is why people don't understand. No one can get hurt because there is nobody here. These are personality structures. They don't exist. There's nobody here. No real people that get hurt. So if beings have chosen, because there's many timelines, so some can choose to go and war with each other. Whatever you see out there, just understand there's no fixed reality. You are not stuck with it. Don't fall into bait of war and we're going to have to and we must go fight. And this is a fear thing. You see, we're going to defend ourselves. No. Nothing to defend. You vision, send out peace, light, and love. You only see God. You only see the divine. There are no separate people. There are no bad guys. It's an illusion. It's a game. Okay. Don't fall for it. Don't get sucked into fighting in your own country, to divide, to any protest, any unrest, anything. There's going to be this. Remember, there are timelines. That's what I'm saying. And when you have bought into a story you're seeing on the media or a channeler or a psychic or someone, because this one went through all of those themselves. I saw all those timelines and many things. So you will see there are many timelines because these are options. This is a Maya. Every bubble is your own universe. Each one is its own universe. So we'd be playing a collective story. So we have a collective theme or so many histories, but now there's parallel realities, literally, and timelines. There are, like I've seen people say, there's going to be conflict or war, whatever. Yes, this one saw it itself back then. All right. But you don't have to choose that. Remember, everything is non-physical. It might look real, only what you touch you can feel and hear. It's not. There are options and many versions and stories. Just scroll past, block. Don't even consume the media. Block it. Block the sites, the people, so you don't see it. Because then what happens when you start feeding it, the mind keeps replaying it. So what you take in, the mind watches like a filter. Whatever you absorb during the day, the mind, when it's at bedtime, like the brain seems to sort it out and filter everything. But when you become conscious, even that you're conscious of. And then when you want to go sleep and the brain's now, it's gone through the whole day. And it's storing everything. This is like the Akashic records. the Maya story. And it's storing everything that you've seen and taken in. Whatever you heard, it replays, because you can watch it. Watch the mind at night. And off it goes, you see. It replays everything that you've seen. So watch the media you're consuming, because the mind, it will keep putting it. So block, for your own good, high frequency music, nature. Don't get into the arguments with the family and friends and who did what and they're the guys and he's this. Remember, this is the Maya. You're here to graduate, not to get caught into any division and conflicts and stuff. You're here to graduate Earth School, not to stay around.